What's up, everybody? This is John with Archer Film. All right, I got a slew of videos coming for you soon. So this first movie, and here's the honest, truth. I just haven't seen that many good movies. I've been watching a lot of movies, and nothing has stood out. Plus, I kind of dug back into David Lynch since his passing, so I might do a David Lynch video soon because I've been watching a lot of his old stuff, and he's one of my favorites. So this movie is probably the best of the year. Technically, it came out in 2024, but I just watched it at the beginning of 2025. And it is incredible. It's one of my favorites so far. It's A Real Pain, written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg. It is a brilliant character study. Through the course of this road movie, you're increasingly annoyed at the character of Benji, played by Kieran Culkin, as they go on this Holocaust tour. There are perfectly timed dark jokes, but they are perfectly spaced out as to not make it overly campy or cheesy as they deal with such a dark subject. Like the characters, the viewer goes on the journey of grief and mourning with them. They're excited at first, mostly to be around each other, and as they see some of the more intense historical sites, the feelings get more complicated, and there's a depth that's slowly revealed. Now, a good movie not only allows the viewer to experience what the main character, is, but the great ones allow you to do it with complex feelings. Jesse Eisenberg does this. With dozens of Holocaust films out there, each vying for a new sort of angle on the topic, this one allows us in the present day to take a look at the ramifications of such a tragedy and how it's reflected in the two main characters. As the film unfolds and Benji grows increasingly distraught at his surface feelings, the grief of losing his beloved grandmother comes out. A deeper feeling emerges, and we don't see or feel it until the very last shot of the movie. So it seems like the two of them are grieving the loss of their grandmother, Benji's favorite person in the world, as they go on this Holocaust tour. It's kind of the impetus for them to experience this grief. But there's a lot more going on, and that's what made this movie so good. It feels a lot like Sideways, wherein the two opposite characters, through their individual flaws and misbehaviors, affect the other person and reveals the sort of depth of their pain by the film's end. The scene in the restaurant where Jesse Eisenberg's character reveals how he feels about Benji and that Benji tried to kill himself is particularly moving. One line specifically allows us into the meaning of the film without spelling it out. And it does it in such a beautiful, subtle way. He mentions his deceased grandmother, whom they are there to tribute. She survived the camps by 1,000 miracles, he says. And that he feels like he doesn't deserve to feel pain because it's insignificant in comparison to hers. Benji feels too much pain. Yet Benji also doesn't deserve to feel the pain as just a loser who smokes weed in his mom's basement. I'm paraphrasing a little, but he's dismissive of this and Benji's pain. And in the first half of the film, we assume it's the pain of losing his grandmother, who Benji claims to have been very close with, his favorite person, he says. So we expect him to go on this journey of acceptance and loss, but by the end, we're left with something entirely different. If this were a thriller, it would be the big plot twist. Since this is a character piece, we are given a masterful and devastating emotional thematic revelation that reveals the truth about the larger world. That the real pain that Benji is going through as we see his face once again sitting in the airport at the very end of the movie, his pain is a generational trauma from his grandmother and so many other Jews who experienced the Holocaust. It's a very profound moment, and it's perfectly realized in the shot and on Kieran Culkin's face at the end. Through Benji's actions and Jesse's reactions to it, we keep asking ourselves what's wrong with Benji. First, we assume it's the death of the grandmother, and by the film's end, we realize, no, it's the generational trauma passed down. What's very interesting is there's a moment when they stand outside the grandmother's childhood home in Poland, and Benji reveals that she once slapped him in the face for being late to dinner. It's laughed off as a forced epiphany that he had. And Jesse does the same thing later, hoping it will help him. And it's actually a very sad moment and reveals that although it was played for humor, it's not funny. And although Grandma was a strong woman who achieved some wonderful things despite her tragic life, that moment perhaps reflected in the trauma she could never rid herself of, and that was violence. All right, check this movie out. It's nominated for a bunch of awards. It really is a beautiful film, really good, one of my favorites so far of the year, and hands down one of the better movies I've seen in a long time. So check it out, A Real Pain, written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg, starring Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. All right, I'll see you in the next video.